All right, today we're going to talk about the evolution of retirement planning from pensions, where it kind of what they call defined benefits, where your kind of company paid for your retirement, now to defined contribution, which is a 401k plans or 403b, which most of you'll see in the slide here, probably have or have available to your jobs. How do you, as the individual investor, plan for the future, stay focused on the long term, and get to your retirement goals? Everyone wants to retire as soon as possible with the least amount of risk, right? The Goldilocks. I want my account to go way up, but I don't want it to ever go down. Wish it was that easy, right? But with everything, economic uncertainty, election, everything else, how do you stay focused? How do you focus on the economic growth and the things that you can control? And more importantly, how does your plan look for you? How does that blueprint, how does follow the yellow brick road, but for you, not the Google search, not your neighbor, not your coworker? How does it work for you? So I'm going to run through 3 quick slides here. Hopefully give you a little bit of insight, the evolution, where it's going, and how it works for you. Let's go. All right, first up, we have the slide showing the evolution of defined benefits versus defined contribution. So 401k versus pensions since 1975. Roughly 40 million people in 1975 had retirement plans available to them. Bulk of that was in those type of pension type plans. Fast forward to 2021, the bulk are now in defined contribution plans, and over 100 million people have plans available or at least active participants in plans. Now, the big difference is defined benefit said, hey, if you work for a corporation for a long enough period of time, you probably get a gold watch, and they'd give you a monthly income for the rest of your life or you and your spouse's life. And that was solely on the corporations. That was on their dime, their liability. That's a defined benefit plan or pension. Flip side, 401k, 457, those are defined contributions. Your employer will help cover some of the costs of setting up the plan. They might even match some of your income that you contribute to there, 3 or 5%. And on your end, you get a deduction usually for putting it in as a pre-tax, depending on which plan you might put in. But at the end of the day, how much you contribute and your performance really dictated when you might get to the math of retirement. Your company was not promising to pay for your retirement. It was solely on you to make contributions. So not only is planning a lot more important than it was 40, 50 years ago, but understanding investing and long-term focus and not looking at the day-to-day. So there's a big dramatic difference just in 40, 50 years. All right, this next chart shows the risk reward of investing. So on the left side, you have the all stock portfolio, which has the highest average annual returns. We see the volatility number. Think of volatility as how big of a ride. Think about a couple of years ago, NASDAQ was down 30%, but the next year was up 40%. Those are some pretty big rides. That's volatility. Now on the right side, the far right, you get an all bond portfolio. A lot less volatility, but the return, are you even keeping up with inflation? So this goes back to finding that right mix for you. How big of a swing can you take? Are you only going to sit on the little kiddie rides, or you'd like to go on the roller coasters? Most people are somewhere in between, but finding that perfect match of how much risk can you stomach, how much risk do you need to take, and how much do you need to make your money grow in a certain amount of time? And that's usually where you'll find, you need to be about 65%, you need to be 45%. It all depends on the plan. It really is you specific and your relationship with money. How can you handle seeing some swings in it? Most people want the return of all stock, but the ride of all bonds. And that's where you get these blended portfolios for. All right, last but not least, this chart's showing the S&P 500 since roughly the financial crisis. It shows bottom red line showing if you went to cash. Market crash, you go to cash. What are you going to do? Wait for the perfect time to get back in. You just have stayed in cash ever since. That's your bottom red. Middle line is you went to cash for a year and kind of said, hey, it's all right, it's not as scary, and got back in. And of course, the top line is staying invested. Now, it's not always easy, and this goes back to understanding your plan, your stomach for those big swings, and where do you want to go with your money? If you need money in a year, yeah, probably we're going to look at different short-term investments versus if you're a long-term investor, you need to retire in 20 years or 15. Pullbacks are going to happen. It's part of it. So we're going to find that happy medium between the stock return, the bond return, to give you a smoothest ride possible to your goal. Now, if you don't know what your goal is or don't know what you need to average each year, then once again, that's where I come in. So book a time, give me a call. Let's figure out that magic math for you so you can get to your goals, be it retirement or whatever else might be. When you have a blueprint for what you need to get done, makes investing a little bit easier and a little bit less stressful. So thanks for watching. Look forward to doing this again soon. Have a great day.